broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello, Welcome Home listeners. Thank you for joining us on episode 28 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Damon and Trevor, as always, and actually, we've got Damon for the second podcast in a row. Awesome. Yeah, exactly. Damon's happy to be here too, and I know Damon's got so many fans as well. So all the fan email we get for Damon. So
exactly. When you're that guy that doesn't go along with the sheep, people like you.
What are you trying to say about us? Oh. Ouch. So I wanted to start off today with, sometimes, and those of you that listen to the show, if you belong to any Facebook groups about DVC or about Disney, you'll probably see me out there sometimes commenting on things. Trevor comments on things. Damon, I think you might comment on things occasionally. But so this was something I've heard many times, and it's called First Welcome Home. And I wanted to see if you guys heard about this, because I had heard a variety of times people post on Facebook like, oh, my guide told me that, because I just purchased, they're going to help me get my first reservation. And I'm like, that just sounds like a sales tactic. That doesn't sound like a legit thing. But I kind of got into, not really an argument, it was a friendly argument, back and forth, where I was skeptical of this. And the person was trying to tell me that this was a legit thing that Disney was doing called First Welcome Home. And I was like, I'm just kind of skeptical about that. And what the thought behind it is, apparently if you buy directly from Disney for DVC, they will help you find your first reservation and can sometimes pull rooms from like the cash inventory. So like if there's no room showing available on the system, they can go and pull rooms that weren't showing as available. And that just seemed dubious to me. So I actually reached out to DVC and got an email from them about this. And so I don't know, had you guys heard about this? Is this a thing that was told to you when you purchased? Because it wasn't told to me. I'd never heard of this.
Yeah, I actually did this when I bought. Yeah.
Oh.
So my rep, Don Deal, for anyone that's listening, Don, fantastic guy at DVC. He told us this is that because we said we were planning a trip, and so we were 9 months out, and he said, yeah, no, we will find you something at the Polynesian. And so he actually went off, we were on the phone with him. He put us on hold. He went off and he got someone from the booking side of DVC, and so we had a three-way call with them, and we gave them our dates and everything, and this nice lady helped us do our first booking. So wow. Yeah, I honestly, so to me, I just kind of assumed that everybody knew this.
I mean, I had heard people say it before. I just didn't know it had like a name and was like a legit thing. I assumed it was like a sales tactic. I didn't realize it was a real thing that Disney offered. They never told us about that when we signed up. And I don't know, Damon, did they say anything to you about it? I mean, is that something you knew about?
Again, I don't have those problems, so I think they just knew.
Damon gets every reservation he wants, for those that are new to this show.
Yeah.
So, no, I actually didn't hear about it, but again, I did not have any problems with my first one, so.
It's interesting. Yeah, and so, I mean, I can understand, so if you're not within, the windows there, or if you're really close, like if you're buying and then you're wanting to go in 3 months, I can understand how that would be an issue. And so this would be a nice thing. But I'll read the email that DVC sent me, because I do think it's interesting to read. And so what they said was, we do offer a first welcome home to new members who purchase directly from Disney Vacation Club. So it's only for direct purchases, according to this email. Now, DVC might be telling me that, because they don't want people to buy resale, but it seems to me like this is a benefit that's for people that buy direct. And it says, during the sales process, new members are advised that we will do our best to assist them in trying to confirm their initial reservation, as they often do not have the opportunity to confirm inventory at the 11 or 7 month booking window. The assistance is on a one-time basis and only for the very first reservation confirmed. So I just thought that was really interesting.
And that last part's actually very important too. So like for us is that, we did our first booking in September, and then because of the hurricane, we had to cancel it. So, I wouldn't have expected it anyway, but if I had gone back and said, well, I didn't get to do my first booking for this reason. I mean, they may have done it because of the hurricane. They may have done it again, but because that was my first reservation. And I think the trick is that they don't want, people like, you buy your first time and you keep pushing it out, and kind of holding on to this reservation, I guess, or this first time reservation. So I can see why they only let you do it as your very first time. We will do our best to get you what we can. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a cool little benefit and just to buying direct, especially if you're going to want to go right away. So, I mean, I just thought this was interesting, and I wanted to bring it up because, A, there's not a lot of DVC news, and, we like to talk DVC on the show because it is a DVC podcast. But B, because this was something that came up, and to those of you listening that I may have argued with on Facebook, my apologies, you were right. I was definitely wrong about this, and that's why I reached out to DVC, because I just wanted to see if that was something that was legitimate and not just something that people were saying that they heard,
You should have just asked me, Tom. I would have told you.
Well, that's why we have the show, right? It's more fun to argue with people on Facebook, Trevor. So,
yeah.
I enjoy the conversation. So
this is true.
Yeah. So, and hopefully it's always people always see it as a nice conversation as opposed to a combative one. So, but anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was something that was a neat first thing. So this is something we talked about, and I don't think Damon, you were on this show when we were talking about this, but. Or maybe you were. But we were talking a couple weeks ago. There was a rumor that Disney was going to debut a digital key where you were going to be able to unlock your hotel room from your My Disney Experience app. And so that's actually been confirmed now. That's going to be something that is rolling out over the next couple weeks here. First, it's going to start at Wilderness Lodge, and then it's going to be followed by other resorts. I think this is really cool. But I would definitely be interested to see what you guys think. I didn't see any of there's a video out there of how this all works, but I didn't see any information about the security behind it or anything like that, because I'm assuming you're going to have to put in a PIN number or something like that. But I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see it as a real benefit. I don't see it as anything that's any different than what we already have. I mean, are you not carrying your wallet everywhere, but you're carrying your phone? Like, it's not a benefit to me, and it's no more or less secure than what you had on your key card. I mean, they're hackable just like a phone's hackable. Like I don't really see any difference or any benefit for me. I just think it's something that's nice for certain people, but no benefit.
Yeah, I guess it's also like the way that they sold it when I read is it's an alternative to the Magic Band and the card and all that, right? So I guess if you're there and you don't want to wear a Magic Band, or you're there for a trip and you're not planning on going to the park, so you don't really need to be wearing your Magic Band, it's nice to have a single device, which I guess it's also assumed that most people have a phone on them at all times, right? So
let's just say though, right, so all right, fine for your Magic Band if you don't have that, but I mean I don't see this as a better option than just giving you the option of the key card, which again, there's a question. I mean, can you still get a key card if you have Magic Bands as an option?
Yes.
Okay, so
because not everybody has a Magic Band,
and the key card is just an RFID card. So in
it's
really, it's
the
all
same
the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, I just didn't know if you could ask for an extra card even if you had Magic Bands, like not one or the other. Could you have both?
I would assume they're not going to just deny you access to the room you paid for. However you choose to get it. So.
I think it's still an option. I think you can still get a key card to the room because I've seen people use them. So
what is the true benefit of this? Unless, what we're talking about is saving money from key cards? I mean, what is the benefit here? For Disney?
It's also that seamless experience, I guess, is where they're trying to get to, where,
where are you that you don't have your Magic Band?
Well, you're doing your online check-in, right? So you're traveling from somewhere. Let's say you don't have a Magic Band, because again, not everybody likes the Magic Bands. Not everybody likes to wear them necessarily. But let's say, you're coming in from an airport somewhere. You get off the plane, you go straight to your hotel. You don't have to stop at the front desk or anything, which again, same as the Magic Bands. And I think it's just meant to be an alternative. So you can just, walk up, scan to your room.
I could see that as a first time, especially if you're getting in late or something like that. I can see that as a benefit. Just, I want to get to my room, I'll deal with my Magic Bands tomorrow. I guess I could see that, but I mean, when do you get your Magic Bands? When you make your reservation or when you buy your tickets?
So you get your Magic Bands. They ship them out 30 days before your reservation. However, I will also point out that if you're international like myself, they don't ship you your Magic Bands, so they're waiting for me at the resort. So
if I book but don't buy tickets, let's say I just decide I'm going to Disney but I'm not buying tickets, I'm still getting my Magic Band shipped to me 30 days before.
Yes, because that's tied to the reservation or to the hotel reservation, not to the park ticket.
So again, this is really only for international travelers that are coming in that maybe don't want to get their Magic Bands at that point. This would be a benefit for them.
Or someone who really hates Magic Bands.
But then how are you getting into the park without Magic Bands?
I don't know, and it's probably a lot of hassle.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, because you still have to use your Magic Band for everything else. It's really, this is just for the hotel room.
Well, I suppose you could actually get a card for the park. I mean, but again, how awkward would that be, right? And I guess it's also, like people are like they got those, what are those things called that you can take the Magic Band out of and you put it into another little thing
like the little lanyard. Pendant things that you have, because it's just a puck in the new Magic Bands that you can take out and put into other things.
Yeah. So I guess they're just trying to give people options, is all it is.
I wonder, though, too, is this a precursor to them getting rid of Magic Bands altogether and putting everything on your phone? You know what I mean?
They
like
would do that?
Well, don't they do that in Disneyland? I mean, isn't that how Disneyland is, right? They don't have Magic Bands, right?
But they're still on
cards.
Yeah, they're still on cards.
They're still using cards, right?
Yeah,
but don't you do your FastPasses through your phone? I mean, like through your smartphone and everything, though?
You do now, but they still offer the paper FastPasses as well.
Okay, gotcha.
So
I don't know. I'm just curious. Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there. I have no idea.
I don't think. I mean, that would be weird because you can't expect. Here's the other problem with this. Digital key. It's the same kind of thing that we dealt with on the cruise. Is that now you actually have to have somebody that's like IT on board to fix this stuff, right? Because when you get a Magic Band, it's a Magic Band. It works, and that's it, right? And if it doesn't, you get another Magic Band. But this is what we ran into. So on my phone, something happened with the ship, and they had to reboot everything, and my phone couldn't send texts anymore to everybody else, right? So they had to reset it, but you couldn't reset it yourself. You had to go to the little IT area, which amazingly enough is the DVC people as well, right? So they're kind of dual purpose.
Doing both.
Yeah, they do that, and then the photos, it's all in that same little area. But he had to reset my phone, and it was the last day. It was such a disaster. But you're kind of opening up that same can of worms now, right? So, all right, well, my digital key doesn't work. All right, well, do you have a phone that was made in, the last 2 years?
How many different configurations are there?
Yeah. I mean, I think that. I think that's just going to be a problem. And again, I don't truly see the benefit of it. So, I mean, great options are great, but I don't see a true overwhelming need for it more than I guess it's kind of cool.
And
exactly.
I think it's just there's no need. It's just it's a fancy toy for those that want to do it, right? And actually, I think it's also too that a lot of other hotels offer this, right?
Yeah,
but they don't have Magic Bands though.
That's
right.
That's true.
But
that's true, yeah.
Explain to the non-Disney people, the not us people about Magic Bands. They're not always sold on it.
That's true.
I just see an increased cost with this. That's the only thing that I see without a true, honest to goodness, unless you are going to get rid of Magic Bands, and that would seems crazy, but I guess it's possible. You could do the same thing, right? Where you have the card, you say, hey, listen, Magic Bands are not the default. Your phone is, but if you don't have a phone that it works with, we'll get you Magic Band, and maybe there's an upcharge.
Yeah,
right, and that would be a money saving tip.
I could see that, but at the same time, I know I brought that up, but they probably make so much money off the accessories for those Magic Bands.
Yep.
I mean, people buy that. I mean, and they have a ton of accessories for the Magic Bands, and also just the special edition ones, all the stuff that they put out with those. I can't see them really getting rid of it. I just wanted to throw that out there.
And here's the full stop to that as well: is that Magic Bands are bound to every individual in your party. So that's a thing as well, is that, when you go to scan for a FastPass or a reservation or anything, every person in your party has to have a Magic Band. So that's kids and adults.
Yeah.
You don't expect every kid to be carrying around a smartphone. Or, well, I mean, most don't, but...
Yeah, that's true.
But that's the true, right? Is like Damon, are you going to go buy phones for all your kids right now if they took away Magic Bands?
Who's to say my kids don't all have phones already?
Okay, let's say your kids didn't have phones. Would you shell out for 3 new phones?
My kids are now underprivileged and don't have phones? I'm kidding.
Okay.
Yes. I see that as kind of a problem. I just don't see the benefit. I just see a downside for Disney in terms of ITing this without a true benefit, and that's just confusing to me. They don't normally make decisions like that.
I think that's the thing. I see it the same way, and I think that's because you and me, Damon, we both work in IT, so we see the other side of this, where there is a lot of maintenance to these kinds of applications, and every time somebody comes in with their own device and there's something weird with it, and it works for everybody else, but there's always that one person that it doesn't work for, right? I mean, it's a nightmare.
But, I guess they've kind of already started that with the Lyft stuff, you know what I mean, with the minivans. It's the same sort of thing. Maybe it's just the same people, because there is a number. So when we were down there and they were doing the minivans and they were just in the demo mode and we had to get a special code and had to call up the IT department. Well, first of all, they were very nice, as all things Disney are, and they were very knowledgeable, and they got us working rather quickly. But maybe it's just the same people. I guess the other way to look at it is, are those people so busy? Maybe they just need more work. Well, we can just kind of pile it on them. Say, listen, now you're in charge of, Lyft, and you're in charge of this app.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really funny point about it, but I didn't think we were going to talk about this topic for this long. This is fun.
I think we beat it to the ground now at this point.
Did we? I don't know. I mean, I think we can talk about... No, I'm just kidding. What I will say is I've had situations before where I could see this being useful. For example, we had a friend come and meet us one time, like mid-trip, and we were in the parks when they arrived at the hotel, and we had their Magic Band. So in that situation, it was under the reservation was under my name, so they probably would have been able to go to the room and be able to go and relax in the room instead of just having to wander around until we got back from the park. So I could see that being maybe a situation, but I think you guys are right. I don't see a lot of applications for this. I don't see a lot of benefit to it, but it is another way to get into your room, and Disney's about features and convenience and things like that, and I think this is another great added thing to have. So, not saying I'm going to use it. I don't see myself using it anytime, but
maybe I'll just try it when I get to the room in
just to try it?
2 weeks. Yeah, just to say that I did it, and then I'll put my Magic Band on and completely forget about it.
Okay, exactly. Yeah. I kind of wish I had a Magic Band in everyday life.
Isn't it just at the Wilderness Lodge?
For now, yes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
How are you going to try it out? Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll go to the Wilderness Lodge and try and
book a room?
scan some. Yeah, I'll book one night.
Interview somebody. You guys. But yeah, no, I don't know. They haven't given a timetable when the rest of the resorts are going to roll out, but I'm assuming if everything goes well at Wilderness Lodge, it'll be pretty quick after that, because the technology's not all that dissimilar from the way the Magic Bands work, and I'm sure it's going to be pretty easy to roll out everywhere. But I mean, who knows? So. I wanted to ask you guys, did you see this new thing at Pandora? This went like viral. This was all over the place.
Yeah, it's stupid looking.
You think it's stupid looking, Damon?
Stupid looking.
The Pandora utility suit? I thought it was cool.
It looks pretty. It's not up to Disney snuff, let's put it that way. That's how I feel.
Really? Wow. I thought it was cool.
Well, it's not Disney either, though, right? Because it's
like
Avatar.
Storm or whatever it is.
Last time I checked, it's still in Disney World, right? So it's got to be up to rest of Disney World snuff.
Oh man, I thought it looked really cool.
No, it's the same way I feel about the Transformers when I see them at.
I was going to say that. Yeah, it reminds me of Transformers.
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing. Like when you see the Transformers at Universal, again, I can only comment on that because I have not seen this stuff at Pandora. It's like it's a shell of what you envision it to be, and they just don't have the technology to do it just yet. This is kind of how I feel about this. I mean, it's okay, right? But if I was to envision this from the movie, it would be a lot cooler. It would be a lot more robotic and cooler.
So I guess there's two things to this. Is one, this mech suit is not the one from the movie, because in terms of the storyline, this Pandora is like 10 years later. So it's not a military battle suit. It's like a maintenance suit. And also, it actually reminds me of the suit that Sigourney Weaver used in Aliens.
I was thinking the same thing. The same exact thing. I was like, it looks like that without the arms, like the big, like forklift arms.
The big fork. Yeah, because it looks like a utility thing. And also, so from my standpoint, when I showed the video to my son, to me, it's, it's a little cheesy and all that, but my son's eyes lit up and he thought it was the most amazing thing, and he wants to see one of these things live when we go down there. So for all the cheesiness and everything around it, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief of it just for the sake of, it's going to be an experience for my son at the very least. So
that's true.
I'll give him that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure in person it looks a lot cooler. The thing that does get me about that one is I was looking at it and I was like, those are obviously fake legs in the front. He's obviously standing up straight, and those legs look really fake. Yeah. They look really bad. That's the one thing that got me. But I did really, I thought it was cool. I like anything like this, and kind of to Damon's point, they want to do more than that, right? And the technology is just not there yet. So in my mind, this is like version 1, right? This is a place to start from.
Actually, it's funny when you say the technology is not there yet. So I follow a lot of like Comic-Con type things, and for anyone who's been to a comic expo, cosplayers are people that dress up as characters from whether it be video games or comics or anime or whatever. And some of the costumes that I've seen these hobbyists do are like way impressive, like mechanically functioning costumes. Like they've got bits and pieces on them that actually work. So to say that Disney is not there with the technology, I mean, maybe they're just not talking to the right people.
See, so again, I'm a big Comic-Con person. I've been to New York Comic-Con on press passes for feels like forever. I think last year and the year before, the 2 years I did not go. So the only thing I would say is I don't know. I think it's in the same vein. I want a robot. Like, that's what I'm saying when the technology is not there. I'm not talking about, how good or how much time you want to spend on your cosplay, right? I want a robot. Like, why can't I get a robot? Like, that's, I guess, what I'm saying in terms of not there yet. I want to see a dude in a real robot where he doesn't have to pick his, like the robot's moving and he's got a joystick and that thing's going. Then I'll be okay.
I get what you're saying.
I don't know if a theme park would be the first place I would test that out, but I do. I get your point.
I could see Disney doing something along those lines, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that I want a sentient robot that's just going to roam the park and stomp on people's heads, right? Like, because I get you there. I'm saying just give me the guy in a suit with a joystick rather than with a real robot, rather than him having to pick his legs up and move around and stuff like that.
You just made me think of the Simpsons episode with Itchy and Scratchy Land, where all the robots go crazy and start trying to kill the kids. That's what I was just thinking of.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong, right? I do think though that this is, when I look at this, I go, okay, this is some of the stuff they're going to be doing at Star Wars Land too.
Well, I think that the other thing about this is that while it is interesting, like, it's one thing, right? Is this, this utility suit person, or are we going to get more of this, right? I think that's the other thing that sometimes that's tough for me in Disney is that, when there's one of something and it's very difficult to find, and again, we don't know the schedules. I'm just, making an assumption here that, this guy's not going to be walking around 24/7. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll be easy to find everywhere and you can hang out and talk with him at your own leisure. I don't know. But, like, give me, 10 things. You know what I mean? Like, you got one of those, give me 10 of them. Get, 10 different things. Like
a robot army.
A robot army. I think that would be a lot more interesting. So, again, I don't know if there's just going to be one, right? It is just kind of a test at this point. Maybe there'll be more. Maybe there'll be a lot more interactions. But I think that's what leads us right into that Star Wars discussion. Is this a test for something at Star Wars Land? I don't know what. But, again, what I'm looking for is that more park immersion. And one of things, especially things that are not a specific proper character per se, just doesn't do it for me, right? Like, I don't want to see 5, I'm pulling now of, again, it's the same thing, right? You're not going to see 5 Mickey Mouse people dressed up as Mickey Mouse, at the same time in an area. But, we see a lot of stormtroopers, right? That gives it a different feel when there's like 20 stormtroopers rather than just one or two, if that kind of makes sense.
No, that's true. Like when you see the army of stormtroopers coming through, it's definitely different than just one hanging out,
Exactly.
I know what you mean.
So I guess in terms of Star Wars, it would be like, going into the cantina and seeing like a bunch of different aliens of all shapes and sizes, and you're right, that would be way more impressive than just, one.
Did you guys talk about the newest Star Wars hotel video? Or did we just skip that, even though that's probably the coolest thing I've seen in the last 2 weeks?
I think we might have talked about that a couple weeks ago, the last one that was out there.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I didn't think there's been any updates on it since.
I thought there was one in the past 2 weeks. But I could be wrong. I'm always late to the game, so that doesn't surprise me if I am.
I mean, I haven't seen one recently, but I had seen the one that just it was kind of brief, and it just had a couple more scenes in it of what it's going to look like. Am I wrong about that?
With the ships flying outside the window?
Yeah. That's the one I saw.
I thought there was one on Disney's actual official site recently. I'm probably wrong, though. I just probably didn't talk about it. I probably missed that episode, so.
You might have, because we did talk about something like that. So.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, we don't really know anything beyond that yet.
I think maybe I'm like dreaming this. I've had some very interesting dreams, but like I felt like it gave me just a little bit more than we had seen recently. But now, as I'm going over the web, maybe I dreamt it. I don't know.
There was another video that came out a couple weeks ago that showed just a couple what the room is going to look like, and then like
I think that was it.
Lobby
Did you guys
area.
talked about that?
I don't remember. Did we?
I don't think we really did because I didn't.
Well, let's talk about it.
But now I can't find the video
to talk about though. Because
it was so minor. It was just like two scenes. Right?
Yeah,
but I mean, 2 scenes is huge. Like I'm all about that. Like that hotel is like on my list of like things that get me excited about Disney.
Well,
right?
we do have that on our list to talk about, but that's under the rumor category, so we can wait to talk about it.
We'll talk about it then.
Right,
sure.
Okay. All right. So we do think, we feel like this could be better, but it is. I still find it kind of cool. I find any of these types of things cool. Whenever they can do them, to me, it's the same kind of thing as like the talking Mickey head and the things like that. But I get what your point is on that. Now, Damon, I put this. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I put this on our list today to talk about because I know
again. How could we not talk about this though? I mean, this is huge.
So, was it last week or the week before? I think it was last show. It was last show. We talked about. The technology behind the Millennium Falcon ride, and now we've got some test footage from that same conference where they revealed some of the technology behind it. And I looked at the footage, and my first thought was, okay, this was recorded secretly on a cell phone and doesn't look good based on that. And also, it is still test footage, right? It's still early on. But yeah. I know, Damon, you felt like it looked terrible.
Again, I'm not looking for the bootleg videographer, angle. I'm just looking from the straight up CGI part of it. It's interesting. I don't know if this is running full throttle, right? That's the one thing we don't really know yet. If this is running full throttle with those NVIDIA, GPUs, we don't know that. But for me, the problem that I have with it a little bit is it's still too CGI. Like, when the movies come out, you have this CGI layered with this live action stuff, right? And it makes it feel more real. Like, I think the scene that kind of gets me, and again, just cheeses me out to boot, is what did we finally say? AT-ATs, AT-ATs. What did we decide was the official
I think we were told that they're AT-ATs.
We were told AT-AT, yes.
And every time I say AT-AT, I'm sure somebody gets angry at me.
So the AT-ATs, as they're falling down, which again is so cheesy because that's not going to ever happen, right? Like, but that being said, I look at them and they just don't. They don't look like they're in the movie. Like, here's the thing: make them look like they're like the movie ones. Like, why is there a discrepancy there, right? So that's what I'm having a tough time with. And again, I don't know the ride. We none of us really know the ride. But why are we even GPUing this at this point? Like, what is the benefit of that GPU over video footage? And I think that's what I think maybe we don't know just yet. and maybe, but it just doesn't look like the movie. And I think at this point, like, it should look like the movie, not some CGI. That's my opinion. And those things are they look the worst. And it's like I said, the mall falling over is the cheesiest thing ever.
But
anyway,
aren't those supposed to be the ones from the most recent episode, like the New Order AT-ATs?
Yeah. But I'm not saying that what I'm saying is that if I look at the shading and the detail, it's not there. Right. Like, it doesn't look real. It doesn't, like I said, that's where I'm having a problem. And again, I'm wondering why. I mean, I guess it must have some VR aspect of it, right? Because then that kind of keys you in on what you can kind of look around and see. You know, same thing as the Pandora ride for like Passage, right? Because you have to be able to look around a little bit. But again, I feel like, aren't we there yet? Like, aren't we to the point where, you know, if I went out and bought the most expensive computer that Disney could buy, that, like, I'm pretty realistic looking, you know, in terms of generation. But again, I don't know why we're doing it on the fly, which again is definitely the hindrance. But
so I guess my thought on this is that, one, that cannot be the final footage, right? Like, this is probably them just testing, you know, how the ride feels. And, you know, I'm sure somebody, you know, like they did all this up as like, here's the preliminary, and then they're going to go back over it multiple times and, you know, so like
all the shaders are off and textures are off, right? Is that what
exactly.
You're saying?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's that. And also, it's especially the fact too, is, you know, we don't have the custom screens that they're doing for it. It's being shot on a cell phone. It's not like, I know it's the footage from the ride, but it's so far removed from what we're actually going to see as a final product. Like, I mean, it's great to kind of, you know, see how it's going to go.
You hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Right? That's the problem, right? We hope that's the case.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, I'm looking at it as, you know, there's so many other things that we've been told about that go in line with this that, I mean, watching cell phone footage of anything just doesn't do it for me.
I mean, but cell phone footage doesn't change the detail and textures of CGI.
You're right. Like, and I'm saying that this is not the final video that they're working with.
Okay. I mean, I hope so.
There's no way it is. There's no way that, you know, they figured out, oh, yeah, you know, we've got this all, like, the video was the first thing we figured out. Like, I'm sure they're doing it as they go.
But you know what I find interesting is that it doesn't look like... It doesn't look like alpha footage of a game either, right? Because again, this takes me back to this whole video game discussion, right? Where I find this is very video game-ish rather than movie-ish. I mean, I know the distinction, you know, the line is getting blurred more and more, but that's how I feel about this. It seems too good to be like alpha or beta footage, though, too, right? That's what scares me a little bit. It's just good enough to make me think that it's pretty close to what we might get.
I mean, and that's possible. I just think, I mean, obviously Industrial Light and Magic are going to be doing this, right? And I just think they're so well known for putting together. I mean, if you like the CGI that is in the Star Wars films, then I would assume you're going to also be satisfied with this too, if they're doing it the same way,
but not
with
if
the same people.
But remember, you know? When you're doing a movie, you're not rendering real time. Right?
Oh yeah, no, that's true. So, that's very true. That's totally true. I don't know.
I feel that between now and whatever it is, two and a half years from now.
Well, yeah, I guess a year and a half.
I don't know if it's
2019.
Not 2.5 years.
Okay, sorry, 2019.
Yeah. So I mean, they still have over a year, though. I mean, it's still a year away.
But I feel that between now and then, there's some poor team of guys that are going to watch this footage like
a million times,
another 50,000 times, going through and tweaking things. I want to believe that this is not what the final product is going to look like.
And it's funny. Has anyone like read some of the comments on there? Like they kind of crack me up. They're funny. Like people are like, it looks very much like Universal attractions, and that actually is 100% the case. Like it does remind me of like King Kong, and then like people
or Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. It's just kind of funny because it is, well, it's the internet, so of course no one likes it, right? Like,
that's true.
we're all armchair experts,
Of course we are.
Yeah.
Well, I will say the thing that's encouraging, not even talking about this ride, but talking about the other ride in Star Wars Land, it does seem like a lot of that is going to be real. Like, so there's
what
probably
other ride in Star Wars Land?
the Battle Escape ride, the one that's like got the massive show building, where you're going to be in like it's from what we've seen, it's going to be like a trackless ride, and you're going to be in, you know, like a little transport type of thing, and assuming that you're trying to escape from a cruiser or something. I don't know, but from all reports, I mean, there were shots while they were building the building of like these, you know, giant. Oh my gosh, Star Wars fans are going to kill me here. What are those called again? The big giant walker things. Yeah.
The thing that we just talked about 5 seconds ago.
Are those I'm sorry. I'm actually not. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, to believe it or not. I like Star Wars.
No, I understand that, but you're not a huge fan of listening to what we said literally 2 minutes ago.
I didn't know that that's what they were. But anyway, but they were showing. Those were so large. The actual props
and our
they were
host
using.
Tom. There we go.
But they were so large that they had to put them in the building before they built the building. So, and there was a lot of rumors that there was going to be like hundreds of animatronic stormtroopers. So
I heard there's going to be something like 18 X-wings. Like I don't know if I'm dreaming this stuff up or I just see it somewhere. I don't know.
They've built many real X-wings. They've been sharing pictures of that. So they have built some real ones already that they've been showing. But I don't know if they're in the ride or if they're just going to be around the land or something. But
I heard there was like a fleet of them. Again, like this is please all rumors and all could be in my head. But like I thought there was like
no, you're right.
So we're gonna like go through a hangar full of X-wings or something.
Yeah, and they're going to be real. They're going to be physical. So there'll probably still be screens involved. But yeah.
Like I get one flying with R2-D2 and save the universe?
If you want to.
That'd be awesome.
I actually do. I think from the... and I might get, killed for this, but I think one of the concept pictures of like the ride vehicle, I think there was like an R2 type unit in the front of it.
Oh, of course there has to be. I mean, that how could there not be? Or a BB type unit, right? Something?
Yeah, something like that. But I think I could be wrong.
Wait, hold on. Tom, have you at least seen all the movies?
I have seen none of the prequels, and I've seen all of the movies.
Well, that's okay. We're not going to be upset about that.
We'll forgive you for that.
Well, that's, when I first decided to watch them, everyone told me, it's like, don't even bother. Just stay away from it. Not even worth it. So I just stayed away from those. But I know some people that do like those movies, so I don't know. I
mean, I think they're worth watching.
Oh, I'll watch them at some point for sure. But I mean, I really liked a lot of the newer ones. I really liked Rogue One a lot. I don't know Solo looks interesting, but I'm not really sure how that's going to be. But
Solo looks interesting because of the cast to me, not because of the story, if that makes sense.
I think it needs to be framed the same way as Rogue One, right? That it needs to be able to stand on its own and not just be, rehashing Han Solo quotes.
Yes, and it also needs to be something kind of like Rogue One, too, where if I don't want to delve in deep, I don't really need to watch Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I know that we're talking about the plans for I don't need to watch it to really gain a better understanding.
Yeah, it's just an extra piece of the story. It wasn't crucial for you to know how they got the plans,
besides the Jedi Temple, I guess that stuff isn't really crucial. I don't know. Maybe it will be by next movie. We don't know that, right?
Yeah. I liked Rogue One, though. I thought Rogue One was fun. But
it was okay.
Yeah, but anyway, so I'm hopeful, as we were saying, that there's, it's not just going to be all screens like you're talking about, and that it's not going to just turn into a ride where it's just screens and you're just moving. There's screens everywhere. That's kind of the bad rap that Universal gets a lot, is that a lot of the rides now are just,
especially the new ones like King Kong and even Fast and Furious and Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon, the setup is awesome. The setup of it is awesome, so the ride I can almost forgive, because sometimes when the setup is that good, it doesn't really matter. But King Kong was just crap. Like, like my dad, like it broke down and my dad couldn't ride it. And like, I was just like, you missed nothing. Yeah. Like you missed absolutely nothing. And I think Fast and the Furious is supposed to be on that same sort of, level.
So basically those rides are like, if you got a chair that just, moved on its own, like had some actuators
if you went to IMAX, if you just watched it in IMAX, that's pretty much what you're talking about.
Just lean back and forth a little bit. And
you had somebody behind you shaking you, and then somebody spitting on you for the water effect.
With a spray bottle in front of you. We'll go back to that again.
You'd be okay.
I just love the whole idea of a fan and a spray bottle. Just someone standing in front of you doing that. It's just kind of hilarious. Anyway, is there anything else we want to say about this before we move on to the next thing?
No, because I'm mad about the next thing.
Oh, you're mad about this? This is interesting. I actually think this is kind of great. So the FastPass tiers, they haven't been announced for Toy Story Land. However, because they had that 90-day early FastPass thing that people could buy, some of those folks got a early preview, basically, of what the FastPass tiers are going to look like at Toy Story Land. And what they found, basically, everything's going to be re-tiered, and for those that don't know out there, and I'm sure everyone we're talking to probably understands FastPass system, but for certain parks, you can there's tier 1 and tier 2 rides, and in the tier 1s you can only pick one FastPass from that group, and then the rest have to come from tier 2. So in the past, it's been like, Toy Story, Tower of Terror, Fantasmic, Rock and Roller Coaster, all the good stuff was in like tier 1. So you couldn't really do, both two fast passes at the same place that you wanted to, especially with Toy Story. But now with Toy Story Land opening, all of the Toy Story rides are now going to be tier 1, and everything else is going to be tier 2. And for me, I thought this was great because I'm thinking, okay, now I can fast pass Fantasmic and Toy Story and Rock and Roller Coaster. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing: even the Toy Story Mania is tier 1.
Yes,
that's dumb.
Yep, because they're bolting it onto the land, right? They're redoing the queue so that you enter in from the Toy Story side. So it's technically.
Yeah, but it's not really a new ride. But this is the same thing that Pandora did, though, right?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, and it sucks because you got a fast pass and rope drop. I rope drop, so it doesn't really suck for me, right? But it sucks for people that don't get up at the crack to go. And I think that's where the problem is that this is something that I've had a little bit of a problem with in general with Disney, is that there's no way to get around this, where at every other park there's a monetary way to get around this. I guess you say Club 33 is a monetary way around it, right? But realistically, there's no true way around it, right? So when I think about going to Busch Gardens, or I think about going to Universal, I think about it doesn't matter where it is. I can quick queue or whatever we want to call it at every other park to do this at a monetary standpoint. So if I really want to go and ride, what you're talking about, you really can't do, let's say, Pandora and Toy Story Land, right, with all the tier 1s in there. You couldn't really do them in a day. Where in theory, if you were at another amusement park, if you wanted to pay, you probably could, right? I could do a lot of the stuff at Universal if I pay, excluding just the Harry Potter rides, maybe? I think maybe just the 2 Harry Potter rides, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that. They're making it very difficult for me to do stuff. They're also making it difficult for me to sleep in because I got to friggin' rope drop every day to get on all the rides.
On all the rides.
Yeah.
I understand why they're doing it.
I do too.
Yeah, it makes sense. It does stink because you can only pick one of those 3 rides now that you want to go on for a fast
It's
pass.
Crowd control is what it is at the end of the day, right? Because if they didn't, everybody would be in there. Like, even if they offered it as a tiered paid experience, everybody would pay for it. They would be like,
that's not true.
Really? You don't think that all the people that would normally line up for this stuff would want to be in there?
So Trevor, I think that part of what, I guess, and again, I'm not trying to sound snobby, but I think part of what the 3 of us don't regularly deal with is, saving for 2 years to go to Disney, right? Maybe it's DVC, maybe it's something else. Whatever the case may be, there's a lot of people that they get to Disney and they're on a strict budget, right? So we can look at just the Facebook pages and see that there's always money-saving tips. And listen, everyone likes to save money, but there's people that without saving that money, they're not going. So I think that's probably closer. I'm going to just throw out a crazy number here, and I'm going to say that 70 to 80% of people that are going to Disney are like that. So I don't think that, and I don't think that they're going to go in and do that. And again, people do Disney different. I just would like an option to be able to do something. And even if it was just something where, hey, listen, I just want to go to all 3 Toy Story rides. If you're going to upcharge me just for that, give me something called like the Toy Story Pass, and I can use it once. Because a lot of them, Universal is one where you can go on it as many times as you want, excluding the Harry Potter rides, right? So Busch Gardens, they do either one where you can have like one and they kind of punch it off a ticket, or you can go as many times as you want depending on how much you want to pay. Give me something where you say, hey, listen, we can't give you this unlimited thing, right? Because crowd control still needs to reign somewhere. But hey, if you want to pay a little bit extra, we'll give you one fast pass for each of those rides one time, and it's X amount of dollars. That's what I'm kind of looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there technically is a way around it because you could do the VIP thing, right? I mean, you could pay many hundreds of dollars an hour to do the VIP.
Of course, but there, at all the other parks, there's a happy medium, right? Where it's not thousands.
It's not thousands of dollars a day. It's like
hundreds. Yeah. That's all. I mean, I get it though, right? I get it with Pandora, but there was 2 rides, so again, you can kind of fast pass one, drop the other. Now, here's the thing: if there's 3, I've already been on Toy Story Mania so many times that I don't even know if I'll go on. If you give me 2 other rides and I got a rope drop and go fast pass one, that's fine. Well, I could see that.
Yeah, I also look at it this way. I feel like this is going to be temporary because I'm curious to see what they do with the Mickey ride when it opens. And then what do they do when...
That's going to be tier 1 for sure.
You think? I mean, it's got to be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but then what do they do when Star Wars lands? I mean, what do they do then?
Everything's tier 1. You have to take 10 vacations to go on everything. Yep,
exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Otherwise, the stormtroopers throw you in Disney jail. I'm going to be in the hotel, and I'm hoping that the hotel has something like crazy. Yes, give me something special. That would make all good in the world. If that was the case.
Well... So I get the why you'd be upset about this, but I think at the same time too. I mean, when's the last time you've been able to FastPass Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, Star Tours, Fantasmic all in one tier?
Well, Fantasmic's stupid, so I don't need to do that.
Well, that's actually one of the few fast passes I would do for a show because it is so popular, and you do have to get in line so early for it, and you do get a nice viewing area for it, but. Outside of that, I mean, I wouldn't do many other ones. But
no, the problem that I usually have is that so we either do Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster, and then just wait the other one out, right?
Yeah, I get that. Okay, so I think we talked enough about Fast Passes at Toy Story Land. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of develops over the next year or so here to see what happens when Mickey comes out. And, I mean, I guess it's theoretically we could end up getting to a point where it's like Magic Kingdom, right, where there's no tiers at all. I don't know. Maybe that's possible. Probably not. But we actually talked last episode about a new segment we wanted to do because Damon loves theme parks and loves talking about theme parks and loves going to theme parks. So, but, this show's completely about Disney, but we wanted to do a segment where Damon talks a little bit about some of his other theme park adventures, and Trevor decided to name this Damon's Detours. So this is our very first segment, Damon's Detours.
Yay.
So, yeah, I'm excited for
I might
this.
actually talk about television sometimes, too, especially if it relates to Disney.
Well,
but that will at least relate to Disney, so
you know what?
That's
Technically, it's a pretty open-ended. Damon's Detours is an open-ended name, so I guess you can make it whatever you want, right?
I like that. So
Great.
I'm going to be going to Busch Gardens, I guess, next Sunday. So that will be really fun. And actually, what I'm looking forward to is going for the new ride. So 2018 has the Battle for... See, and here's the thing. Is it Era, Erie? I've heard it pronounced both ways, but it actually is just the Battle for Ireland.
Oh, okay.
So I think the official pronunciation is Era, and it's like I said, that's the official name that was for Ireland.
Is it like E-I-R-A? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what Ireland, I guess, was called between the 30s and 40s, I guess, before it became the Republic of Ireland. Anyway, so this is a VR ride, and what it seems like, and again, I have not been there yet, but it seems like you're in something kind of like Star Tours, but with a VR headset for each person. And there's fairies and some dragons and some things like that. So it's going to be this combination, and I'm kind of looking forward to it, but in this way where I think like I could be really sick, so I don't know. I'm hoping it's kind of synced up so good that I'm not going to be sick. But what this makes me feel like is if this ride is off the hook, I'm going to be even more disappointed in Pandora. But again, they're doing something a little different. So you are in this like kind of Star Tours-y sort of thing with people. But again, since you have a headset on, you're not going to really know that you're there with them. But I'm going to report back on this ride and again, kind of give it a little bit more of a relation to how it interacts with Disney. So my detour this time is really just a pre-detour, just letting you know of where I'm going and what to expect. And actually, hopefully by next episode, I'll be able to report a little bit more on this ride. So
I'll be interested to see, because I know Disney came out and said that they really don't want to do VR, and part of the reason was because of like just the loading times of the VR type rides, because you got to take the headsets off and clean them, and then that whole thing.
I think what they did was because you have that Star Tours type loading system, you can get a lot of people on rather quickly, is what I'm thinking. And I don't know if there's more than one contraption. I don't even know what you would call it. Again, I don't know enough about it. But I don't know if there's more than one of them. But that being said, I think it's more going to be like, how do you keep people from breaking the VR headsets, right? Like,
exactly.
But we will have to go and check this out. That's part of what I'm going to be doing in the next 2 weeks, barring any sort of bad weather on that side.
I'm imagining the goggles are all suspended from the ceiling, and you just kind of bring them down, and so they're on like a wired system.
They kind of look like some Oculus type goggles, if I you know what I mean. So it is going to be interesting, but again, if it's something that Busch Gardens can pull off rather well, it's going to be it will definitely be interesting. So I'm going to have to rope drop that, and since we're a few hours away, it's going to be an early morning to get there in time. And I'm also debating between this whole, do I go and get a season pass or not? So that's going to be something else. I'm going to make that decision in the next week, because you can pay the monthly season pass. I want to say the middle season pass is like $17 and includes the water park, which again is one of my favorite water parks. Sorry, Disney, but the Busch Gardens and Water Country USA is awesome. And it also, I think, may include Aquatica, which is part of that reason why I was thinking about getting it, since we will be going down in August to Disney and trying to do one of the other water parks. Not that I don't like the water parks at Disney. I've just been there so many times that I kind of want something new. So the prequel detour, expect a report, barring any unpleasant weather, that I will be able to let you know how this new ride is.
All right. Well, I think it's a good first edition.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to.
Do you have any DuckTales things to rant about? I'm sorry, Trevor.
No, DuckTales has been over for a while. The only thing I can rant about is that it's not back yet.
So you turned the corner on that one? Did you start liking it towards the end?
I would say that I started to like it towards the end a little bit better than some of those beginning episodes, because there's an overarching storyline. Again, for people that don't know me, there's few things I don't like. I don't like prequels because I already know what's going to happen. Hate that. Boring. And I also don't like one-off episodes of cartoons anymore. Gravity Falls has ruined that, right? In a good way. Like, I need a real cartoon that's got some arc in it, if that's the sort of show you're going for. And I think they are. So yeah, I started to get a little bit, got a little arc going in there with, Magica and all that. So I think that will be interesting. Looking forward to it.
All right. Cool. Trevor, I'm sorry I stepped on you before. What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying I'm looking forward to hearing either how good or how horrible this experience is, because I've never been to Busch Gardens, first of all, so I have no concept of what kind of stuff they even have there. But yeah, I want to hear if this, I don't get to hear about this kind of stuff often enough. So
yeah, and the best thing about me is I am not going to hold back any punches. It will be what it is, right? I mean, I'll definitely let you know.
All right.
So if it's good, Busch Gardens should pay you to do their commercials.
That's right.
Well, what's funny, I tell this to my wife as well. So she asked me about now we're definitely tangenting, but she asked me about an outfit, right? And I go, no, it looks horrible. And she's like, why are you such a jerk? I go, see, the thing is that when I tell you something looks nice, don't you have a special feeling about that because it's really true? It's the same thing with, I try to live that way in most of what I do, right? It is what it is. You don't have to like what I said, but that's what it is.
But it's the truth at the end of the day.
Yes, if it's good, I will let you know. And if it's bad, I'll let you know as well.
Love it. So, thank you, Damon, for doing that. We appreciate it. We're going to do, right after this, right now, we're going to do our next, maybe last episode for now of, Trevor, of Traveling International.
Yeah,
Trevor?
I think this will be my last episode before our trip. So for those that have been keeping up, is that we have a trip planned at the beginning of May. So we're kind of getting into the last couple of weeks.
Wait, hold on. I have an interruption here. Don't you have another trip planned after that?
I have one planned for next January. So January 2019 is our next one. So yeah, this is our...
Okay, sorry about that.
That's fine. So yeah, this is our big trip for 2018. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, and this actually... So this didn't happen to me, but somebody else that I know, they went down to Mexico. They bought I think it was sunscreen or something, and they ended up having an allergic reaction to it, which I never really thought about this in the past. And like, so again, coming from an international standpoint, is, we have stuff that, like, I mean, in Canada, I guess, a lot of the products that we buy, sunscreen, stuff like that, generally the same as what you buy in the States. However, I do notice that there is a difference when we get down there on some of the products that we're looking for. So, so just kind of I guess my last thought with around traveling is that one, if you need any kind of stuff, so whether it be medicine, like any of that kind of stuff, it's probably best to try and make sure that you have the things you need ahead of time, because again, traveling internationally, you may not be able to find what you need necessarily, or it may look like the same product, but there may be a slight variation, and you can end up having an adverse reaction to it. And I mean, for me, if I had an allergic reaction while I was down in Disney, I would not be very happy. That's actually also why, like, in the meantime, I kind of looked at, we bought some new products this time around. So like some different medicines and stuff like that we're planning to take with us. And so I actually took it upon myself just to test them, to like the topical ones and whatnot, just to test them to make sure that, that I'm not going to have a reaction to them ahead of time. Because again, when you're getting down there, you don't want to, buy something and then get down there and then find out that, it's not going to work for you, because that's a waste of money and a waste of your time. Also in the same vein, I actually went backpack shopping, what was it, last week or the week before? And we bought some new backpacks, kind of along the same line too, is that I wanted to buy them because we've had a backpack that we used for a long time, but we wanted to switch it out because it's getting worn out and everything. But I did actually put a lot of effort into finding a good hiking backpack, believe it or not, because you don't want to, again, get down there, find out that the backpack that you're using is not comfortable, it doesn't work, and then you kind of screw yourself for the whole trip, right?
You're stuck with it. You're stuck with it, yeah.
So yeah, I guess those are the kind of things that, again, coming from a much further destination, you do want to think about these things as you're packing, because, you don't just want to buy something and go, I hope this will work when I get down there. And then you're stuck, you're in a hotel room, you don't necessarily know where to go to replace it. And it just makes your trip a lot more difficult than it has to be, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. Can you give us a quick recap too of what your trip is like? Where are you staying? What's it going to look like? Do you have like any dinner reservations?
Yeah,
like
so the full rundown of our trip is we're staying at the Polynesian. So this is our first official DVC stay.
First one, finally. No hurricanes.
Yeah,
this time.
I really hope there's not going to be any hurricanes.
I think it's outside of hurricane
I'm pretty
season.
sure.
I think you're going to be okay.
So yeah, we're staying at the Polynesian. The places that we're going for dinner, so we're going to Ohana because we didn't get to go to Ohana last time. We're also going to, what's it called? The Garden Grill in Epcot. So that's the rotating, character dining, the rotating thing. And then we're also doing the 50s Primetime Diner in Hollywood Studios.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and so my wife was actually very, she wasn't sure about that one. And because she wanted to go back to Sci-Fi Diner because she really likes Sci-Fi Diner, but I convinced her, we should try and try all the different restaurants, right? Yeah, and then make a decision. Also, in addition to that, we are doing another dessert party this time. I know we did a dessert party on our last trip, but we are doing the Garden View fireworks party. So that's the one where you have desserts at Tomorrowland Terrace, and then they take you out to a viewing area kind of right in the hub, and so you get a roped off area in the hub where you can watch the fireworks from.
That was like the area that I don't think you can fast pass this anymore. You used to be able to fast pass Wishes, and then I think they stopped doing that.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's the area that they put you in now, which is good because the view from Tomorrowland Terrace is not always great, just because there's trees, there's obstructions, and things like that. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the extent of our big things. Oh, and actually, sorry, one last thing. We also booked the Void for the Secrets of the Empire experience. So
Yeah, I can't wait for the review of that.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you know. It kind of, I guess, the same as Damon.
I might have to. Yeah, I might have to skip out on listening to that, like kind of like you did with some of the other stuff.
I
keep it vague.
I've been trying
Keep
to
it vague.
avoid some of that.
Yeah, I guess I'll try not to be spoilery about it, but I'll definitely let you know if it's good or if it's bad or kind of the same as your Busch Gardens thing, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. But see, I don't see you going to Busch Gardens, so I don't think I have to worry about that too much.
No.
Right?
I'm psyched for you to do that. Everything I've seen,
I
it
believe
seems
Tom
like it's
doesn't go to
amazing.
Busch Gardens. I don't understand. It's not even that far.
We go to we have Carowinds right down the street from us. It's
Carowinds sucks, man.
it's a good park. It's a nice park. But
You know what? Carowinds, again, I'm surprised to even hear you say that because, Trevor, Carowinds is all about super high, tall, fastest roller coasters.
I didn't say I go on any of those things.
Yeah.
There's like
Exactly. So
three
what do you
things
even do there?
I think there's
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 things I do there. Like bumper cars are there. That's
Exactly.
good.
So how is
So
that
you
good?
buy like
There's
a
a plan-
churro and call it a day, or
I
Yeah,
mean,
pretty much.
I just love amusement parks. So I enjoy.
I do.
all
They
of
have
it.
Snoopy there, right?
I think they do. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the only thing that I haven't been to Carowinds, but I do love me the Snoopy, so I'll have to do something. Because, again, Busch Gardens has Sesame Street.
Oh, okay.
But no Snoopy. Snoopy's far better than Sesame Street. I hate to tell everybody.
Tangent.
my kid likes Snoopy more as well, so I'd agree with you.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I like Snoopy too. All right. Well, awesome. Anything else you want to mention, Trevor? I'm sorry.
That's the sum of it. I'll be letting you guys know after. I'll be here for the next episode, but then the episode after that, I'll have a summary of how it went down.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to end like we always do, and that's with talking about rumors. And we kind of mentioned earlier in this episode a little bit about the Star Wars Hotel. And, I remember a while ago, the D23 episode we did, we had a guest on from one of the Disney groups, Chris, and I remember he was like, I don't think this is going to happen. Like, I think it's going to be one of those things that gets canceled, that it's not going to happen. Well, the rumor is, not rumor, this is real. Permits have been filed to clear land at a possible site for the Star Wars Hotel. So,
Well, you just really hung Chris out to dry for no reason.
No,
huh?
no, I'm not hanging Chris out to dry. I love Chris, man. He was fun to have on. I'd like to have him on again. No, but it's funny because he mentioned that because things do get canceled. They get announced all the time. And this is so ambitious, right? I mean, this is such an ambitious project that I could see it getting canceled. And, we didn't have this as a topic on the show, but the Main Street, not the Main Street, but the theater that was going to be built in Magic Kingdom has apparently now been canceled. So that's an example of something that was announced and then later canceled. But this looks like it's going to happen. So the permit calls for clearing land in an area right behind where the show buildings are for Star Wars Land. I don't know what else they'd be putting there. Kind of seems like it's going to be the place where they put it. My question is, I still want to know how they're going to get guests into, like, what's the hotel going to look out like on the outside? How are they going to get guests into Star Wars Land without like ruining the magic? Like, they're not going to throw them on a bus,
No, it's going to be connected to Star Wars Land. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I think that they're going to be looking towards Star Wars Land because Star Wars Land is so huge, like height wise. Anyway, I think that it's going to be perfect. Like, the thing that I'm hoping is that we get some sort of, and again, I say we because I will be going when that bad boy opens. I'm there. Some sort of special entrance and some sort of special hours. I have a feeling we're going to get special hours.
It's got to be
there.
right.
That's just
gotta
my thought.
Got to be.
Yeah.
Again, I love those extra perks that like I can buy. Those are the best, right? So sign me up.
So 2 thoughts on this is one, the view doesn't really matter that much because a lot of the rooms are going to have the space view. So really, it could just look like a concrete building from the outside, and
You're still going to have to go outside, though. There's still going to be balconies or something to that.
well, no.
effect,
So
that's my guess.
according to some of the
You're gonna be in space,
according to
though.
some of the pictures, is that you don't actually have a balcony. You just have a window that looks out into space from your room. So there's not necessarily going to be an outside view on some of the rooms. I'm sure they're going to have probably some preferred ones that look over to
It's
Star
going to be
Wars.
like a bunker.
Yeah.
gonna be like a
It'll be a
bunker, you
concrete
think?
building, and there will be a concrete hallway that will lead from the building to Star Wars Land, going underneath whatever structures they need to go underneath. But it'll be decorated nice so it all looks cohesive with the theme, and it'll dump you out into Star Wars Land. That's my bet.
I feel like to make this really cool, they have to have like some sort of like trackless like vehicle that takes you in between. Like I feel like it's so much cooler if you like are on some sort of transport that takes you there. That's
let
very
me walk.
Star
I don't
Wars.
want to wait for that crap.
Or it like the thing at the Orlando airport, the little tram that they have that goes back and forth between the terminals. I could see something like that maybe.
I'm thinking People Mover. That's my thought. I'm thinking just like the People
Bring it
Mover
back.
in Magic Kingdom. Yeah, just like a Star Wars themed People Mover that takes you there. But I mean, walking is probably the way it's going to be. I'm more curious how it's going to look on the outside by like when you drive up to it. Like, there's got to be some.
It's going to be a big concrete bunker.
It'll just be a big.
I know, but like
big gray building. You won't, you won't know.
Well, I almost like. Do you think, or maybe you won't even? Because, you know, like when you pull up to resort, you pull up and you see the outside theme of the resort. I can't imagine it's just going to be concrete. Like, I just wonder how they're going to do that.
I don't think you're going to be able to pull up to the resort. Like, I don't think
maybe you
it's
pull
be
straight underground or something like that. Like
either that or like you're in the parking lot and from the parking lot you have to get there somehow. I think it's going to be,
I don't know where. I mean, I feel like they're going to have somewhere else that they're parking people and then, they ship you into the building.
Has to be, right?
Because
I think the thing I'm more concerned about is the price.
Exorbitant.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge.
A lot.
I don't think so. Again, I think like my spidey sense tells me that like we're looking at like maybe what did we say? It's a 3-day experience.
Well, I don't know. I don't know
guessing.
if that's
let's
been
just call it
finalized yet.
All right, let's just guess a 3-day experience. I figure it's going to be like for a family of $1,500 a day. I kind of feel like that's where we're going to be at.
Yeah.
And is that really all that bad?
I mean, for something immersive like that, if it's all inclusive, no.
Yeah, I'd go for it.
I think so. With 5 people, I think that my number is 10. If it's over that, then I can't. I can't bring it upon myself. But if it's under 10, like, I can do it.
I think I can't see it being. It's going to be expensive, but I don't know if it's going to be that expensive.
Yeah, that's like I said. That's the limit I have in my head. And you know what? I kind of comparing it to a cruise, right? What's a cruise on a cruise for like Disney cruise for that amount of time is less than that. But I mean, if you got like a really awesome room, maybe you're at like 7, 8, maybe 4 days. That might be a 4-day cruise, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. So like I think that I could compare it to a cruise for myself. As long as it's somewhere in the cruise pricing, then I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, because this is going to be, I almost just said an out-of-this-world experience. It might as well work for Disney marketing. Ugh. I'm sorry. I just got grossed out in my own head that I was going to say that.
Well, you got to use the right voice if you're going to say it. Yeah.
It's going to be out of this world.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, doesn't Mickey say something like that when you're on the People Mover and you go through the one gift shop?
Yeah, he says, it's out of this world.
Does. It's out of this world. Yeah, that's my best.
I won't even attempt a Mickey voice.
No, that wasn't my best. I can do better. But I just think this is cool. I'm glad that they're working on it because I think a lot of people were wondering, all right, well, where's this thing going to go? Are they going to start building it? When's this going to happen? You know, do you think this is a day one thing? Do you think this is going to be open when the park opens? I don't know.
Well, we're talking next year, right? I mean, do you think they can have this?
We're talking late. I mean, they're saying right now probably fall of next year that Star Wars Land's going to open because the one in the Disney World version is well behind the Disneyland version. A couple months, they're saying.
Right. So I mean, we're talking, a year and 3 months, 3-4 months.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, 4 or 5 months. Yeah, at least.
I mean, look if you look at the Riviera Resort, the DVC resort, right? They were just breaking ground on that when I was there last year, and they're still doing structure on it. Like, they haven't even done outside walls or anything, and we're coming up on a year for that here in September.
That's true.
So, yeah.
That's getting there, though. I mean, they are almost done with the structure of that thing, and that is a massive hotel.
Yeah, but then you have to do all the internal...
All the inside
and
stuff.
the thing is Riviera is a lot less complex because, Star Wars Hotel is going to have a lot of, I'm sure, custom and interactive things as well. So it's not just a simple
screens.
You don't just build a room. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that has to go into it. I don't see it being day one with the park.
I think this is phase 2.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they're gonna use a lot of what they learn about the park and the people to do it too. I think why would you not want more information when you're building something like?
Oh
this?
yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. I think it'll be cool, too, if the things that you do in the park, they talk about this building reputation thing, if those will affect your hotel experience, too. I'm not sure if they've actually said if that's going to work that way, but that'll be cool, too. So.
Well. All right, fellas, I'm done. I don't care enough about Club 33 until the money's in my pocket that I can buy it. And I don't know how you have, unfortunately, somebody passing away as in our rumors section. Or is that?
It's
not. It's its own section.
No,
it's its own section. I feel better about that.
It's kind of a bummer to start when to start the show by talking about somebody passing away, but it's a little bit easier at the end.
I love me the Figment though.
Yeah.
That's my take on that.
That's true. So. And so really quickly here, we can wrap this up, and because this is not something we really need to talk a lot about. But basically, we've been talking a lot about Club 33 the past couple shows. It seems like there's some confirmation that the location at Animal Kingdom is going to be at which I didn't even know. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know there was a lounge, a secret lounge in the dinosaur attraction. I had no idea that it was the McDonald's lounge, apparently.
Wait, who can go there?
What's that?
Who can go there?
I guess McDonald's executives and their guests.
Yeah, that's how good it is, right? That's how attractive it is.
Yeah. So they're going to redo that whole thing, I'm sure. I'm sure they're not going to leave it as the McDonald's lounge. But apparently they're going to be redoing that, and it's going to be in the dinosaur attraction. So that's the rumor. But the death that Damon was talking about is the voice of the Dreamfinder from the original Figment ride died at 83. He wasn't just the voice of the Dreamfinder either. He was a pretty epic voice actor.
Yeah, he did a few things around the park, didn't he?
He did. So he did that. He also did. Oh man, he's done a lot of different stuff. He was. What is this? Let's see here. He's one of the Heffalumps, which when I was a kid, I was terrified of the Heffalumps in Winnie the Pooh. I really was. They scared me. Duckworth from DuckTales. This guy did. Yeah, which is sad. He was Santa Claus in Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. I mean, this guy was a pretty epic voice actor, but he was most known for being the Dreamfinder. And we are big Figment fans on this show, so
some bigger than others because they keep their stuff in mint condition.
I would argue that my fandom is bigger because I had to take him out of the box.
But yours is no longer in mint condition. The only thing you could have done was have purchased 2 of them, and then you could have upped your game enough.
I should have done that. If I were in person, I would have bought 2. But
I think I might have as well.
But anyway, this is a sad thing. But he was one of the more legendary Disney people. So Chuck McCann at 83, passed away. So that's a sad way to end the show today. But if you want to wrap us up here, Trevor, we can get out of here.
Yeah, sure. So. Again, as usual, we do love hearing from you guys. So keep the comments coming, keep the emails coming. You can find us on email at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. I'm going to skip over the website because that's not a thing anymore.
What?
Wait, it's not that it's not a thing. Either you make a joke about it or you mention it. You don't have any other option.
There's the joke. It's not a thing anymore because we don't use it. If you want to go to welcomehomepodcast.com, you can go there, but it's not very exciting.
But hold on. But there's small little tidbits about our personality that if you don't go, you'll never know.
That's right. There's Easter eggs.
Easter
eggs. Yes.
If you're interested in irrelevant information about the guys talking to you right now,
I'm going to say, you know what? I might actually put some more Easter eggs on there, and that could be our thing with the website.
Oh, I love
all right,
it.
do it, man.
Idea.
Absolutely.
Great.
But I'll hide them under broken links. No, go ahead.
Hidden videos and bios and
yeah. So yeah. I mean, obviously, if you want to check out our website, that's great. But we are also on Facebook. That's where we are most of the time. So on Facebook, you can find us at Welcome Home Podcast. We do have a Twitter account that we don't really use because I think we all suck at Twitter.
That one I'll give you.
Yeah.
That one. Whoa. I don't know if I suck at Twitter personally, but
well, okay.
that hurts my feelings a little bit.
Podcast, we suck at Twitter.
Hey, everybody else, I got 20,000 followers on my other Twitter account.
Our Twitter
Trevor's
account
not giving me any love on that.
Our Twitter account basically reposts everything we post on Facebook.
So I guess whatever we post on Facebook is on there, and so that's Welcome Home Pod. Same thing with Instagram is that anything we post on Facebook ends up on Instagram as well, which is at Welcome Home Pics.
Does it?
Yes, it does, because I set that up.
Oh, that Trevor did that. That's awesome. Yeah.
So we are on all those platforms, but obviously, if you want to talk to us, Facebook is probably the best way to get a hold of us, or by our email. And as usual, so if you did find us on iTunes or Google Play or whatever, we do like reviews. Reviews help us get more visibility, helps more people find the podcast. So please leave us a review if you got a chance.
Yeah, we have close to 5 stars right now on iTunes, so let's keep that up. Just one person, I think, gave us 4 stars for being too long. So, but you know, we hear from people that they want more of us, so we just try to give you more in one episode. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, anywhere you get your podcasts. Just search for Welcome Home Podcast. We will pop right up, and you'll be able to download all of our episodes. Hopefully you've subscribed, though, and you listen to us every time a new one comes out. Just a reminder, as always, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We're not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on this show are our own. So please consult a DVC representative, a Disney cast member, call Disney directly for more information about anything we talked about here today.
Like what Tom had to do.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I reached out to DVC for comment.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, because I needed some clarification. So, please do that if you can. Damon, you have anything you want to plug?
I don't know. I'm doing a lot of interviews at BSC Kids, actually, some stuff from Black Panther and some other movies. So come over and check out our interviews. And like I said, my puppet has been doing some test work for his Disney stuff. So he's getting closer to, really...
Does the puppet look like you? Is it a puppet of you? No, okay.
No, that would be too awesome. When I want that. So the puppet,
break the internet. Break the
internet. So if you go to bsckids.com, we do have a logo, and in that logo is 2 anime, a boy and a girl. He is based off of the boy in the anime kind of drawing we have for our logo. Actually, to a T, done by somebody that used to work on the Muppets, by the way. So It's awesome. Yeah. So stay tuned. He's been doing some demo work. He's getting closer.
Nice.
Can't wait to see him.
Well, yeah, me too. So don't join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see y'all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
We do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl,